This story is based on the true life of a real gorilla, and if you love animals, trust me, this video is going to hit you right in the heart. We open inside the Big Top Mall, home to a small animal circus run by Mac, and here we meet Ivan, a silverback gorilla who has been performing in this show for almost 20 years. He is the headliner, the star. People travel from far away just to see his scary act. But the truth is, Ivan isn't scary at all. He's gentle, quiet, calm, yet every night he has to pretend to be a raging monster, because that's what the audience expects. The show begins with Mac introducing the acts: Henrietta, the chicken, a genius who can actually hit a baseball; Frankie, the sea lion, a nervous performer who can balance a ball better than anyone, but never believes he's good enough. Then comes Stella, the old and kind elephant, and Sneakers, the poodle who performs with her. Their act is classic, loved by everyone, and of course the kids' favorite, the rabbit driving a little fire truck, sending the whole crowd into giggles. Ivan walks in, beating his chest, growling, putting on the scary, violent act that isn't really him. After the show, Ivan returns to his enclosure, where his best friend Bob, an adorable stray dog, is already waiting. Bob isn't part of the show, but Ivan protects him from the security guard Castello, so Bob basically lives with him. Every night, Julia, the daughter of George, one of the mall workers, sits next to Ivan and draws. Ivan loves her company, and she loves drawing him. Mac and George drop by, and Julia quickly grabs her things. Her mom has been sick for a long time, so Mac gives Julia some extra money to buy new crayons. It makes her whole day, but the truth is, the circus is dying, crowds are shrinking, money is running out, and Mac is desperate for a way to bring life back to the show. Ivan can feel the stress too. He can't sleep, wondering why people don't come like they used to. He tells Stella, maybe the problem is me. Maybe I'm not scary enough anymore. Stella gently tells him, humans are strange. They like danger. They like fear. Maybe that's just how they think. So Ivan makes a decision. He needs to help the show before it disappears forever. That night, Julia gives Ivan her old crayons, so he can try drawing something too. Ivan is curious. He ends up drawing the little beetle crawling on the floor. Bob looks at the drawing, confused. He can't tell what it is at all. The next morning, Mac arrives at the mall and sees Mike from the arcade shutting down his shop. Mike says business is dead and he's moving somewhere else. Mac sighs, another reminder that the mall is collapsing. Meanwhile, Ivan keeps trying harder and harder to look angry on stage, but nothing changes. Crowds still don't return. Tickets still don't sell. Mac realizes maybe they need something new, something fresh and exciting, a brand new animal. That night, Julia sees Ivan's drawing. George can't make sense of it, but Julia immediately says, Dad, it's a beetle. Ivan drew a beetle. And when Ivan sees she understood it for the first time, he smiles, because only an artist can truly understand another artist. The next morning, Bob sneaks into Sneakers' room to eat the leftovers from her dinner. But Sneakers tells him something surprising. There's no show today. Mac went out to bring in a new animal. Bob gets excited and runs around telling everyone, guys, a new performer is coming. A truck finally pulls up near the mall entrance. Mac climbs inside to bring the new animal out, but the little creature is too scared to move, so he calls Stella for help. Stella gently walks in, nudges the baby forward, and that's when everyone sees her for the first time. A sweet, tiny baby elephant, Ruby. Everyone instantly falls in love, because nothing pulls crowds like a baby animal, and Ruby had that magic. But Ivan doesn't feel the same. He doesn't understand how this little elephant is supposed to save their show. He tries to sleep, and Ruby quietly walks up to his cage. Will you tell me a bedtime story? She asks softly. I love stories, but Ivan barely responds. To him, Ruby is the new headliner, the one replacing him. The next day, the show begins. Ivan gives everything he has, trying to be scarier, louder, stronger, but the crowd doesn't care. They're waiting for Ruby. When Ruby steps out into the ring, the audience explodes with excitement. Her cuteness wins every heart in the room, and soon more and more people start coming back to the shows. Ivan feels replaced. Bob tries to comfort him. Kid stars grow up fast. Your time will come again, don't worry. After the show, Julia visits Ruby and notices Stella struggling to put one foot on the ground. She alerts her dad. George and Mac examine Stella's foot, but nothing looks obvious. Mac worries it might be an infection. He tells George, tonight mix some aspirin in her food. I'll call the vet in the morning. Later that night, Stella gives Ruby a bath and tucks her in with a bedtime story. Ivan quietly steps closer to listen. When I was just a baby, Stella begins, I lived in the wild with my family. One day, searching for water, I fell into a deep pit and couldn't get out. Bob raises an eyebrow. Let me guess, humans trapped you there. But Stella shakes her head gently. No, a little girl heard me crying, and she brought the villagers to rescue me. Not all humans are cruel. Ruby asks, will we ever be free like the wild animals, out of these cages? Stella replies, there are zoos out there, safe places where animals live almost like they do in the wild. Maybe one day you'll go to one of those. She kisses Ruby goodnight. The next morning, when Mac gathers everyone, George tells him Stella can't perform. Her condition has worsened, so Mac makes a decision. Today, Ruby performs performs alone. Ruby freezes. She's terrified, but Ivan steps close and whispers, "There are kids out there waiting for you. They came just to see you. Be brave." Ruby takes a deep breath, walks out trembling, and the moment the lights hit her, the crowd cheers so loudly that all her fear melts away. She bows shyly, and suddenly performing doesn't seem so scary anymore. But Stella's condition continues to decline, and Ruby can't sleep that night. To comfort her, Ivan draws a carrot, her favorite food, and hands it to her quietly. Ruby lights up with joy. Ivan tells her to keep it a secret and begins telling her about his own childhood. "When I was young, Mac adopted me. He and his wife Helen, they treated me like their own son. They took me everywhere. Kids loved taking pictures with me. But as I grew older, I became wild. I messed things up, broke everything, and one day, Helen left. She never came back. So Mac brought me here, started this animal circus, and I've been living in this cage ever since." After hearing Ivan's story, little Ruby finally falls asleep. Stella looks at Ivan, her voice soft, fragile. "It's my time to go, Ivan. Promise me one thing. Take care of Ruby. Give her the life I never had. Don't let her grow old in a cage, like me." Ivan's heart breaks, but he nods. "I promise." And that night, Stella takes her last breath. The entire circus falls silent. Everyone mourns, but no one is more shattered than Ivan. The next morning, Mac starts training Ruby alone, pushing her harder and harder. But Ruby is just a baby. She learns slowly, and exhaustion takes over. Julia watches Ruby struggling. "Mr. Mac, she's too tired," she pleads. "Let her rest." But Mac refuses. He wants the show back on its feet. He wants Ruby ready, fast. He grows impatient, harsh, and Ivan can't take it anymore. His silent anger simmers. Then Ruby sneezes, sending Mac's wig flying across the ring. Everyone gasps. Mac turns red with embarrassment and storms away. Stella's last words echo in his head. Give her a better life. He knows he must free Ruby. So that night, Ivan uses his crayons to draw a picture, a key. If Julia sees it, maybe she'll understand. The next morning, Julia returns to see Ivan. He pushes the drawing through the bars. Julia studies it, confused at first, but Max snatches the drawing away before she can react. He stares at it, puzzled, and suddenly gets a bright idea. If people find out our gorilla can draw, they'll come rushing back. And just like that, he sends out the footage of Ivan painting in his cage. The news spreads like wildfire. Crowds swarm the mall. Everyone wants to see Ivan draw, but Ivan doesn't care about fame. He only wants freedom for Ruby. So when Mac orders him to draw in front of everyone, Ivan refuses. He just stares back, making a face. The crowd grows quiet. Mac feels humiliated. He scolds Ivan afterward. "Ruby can't save the show, but you can. If you just keep drawing, Ivan, we can survive." But Ivan turns away. At that moment, Mac notices Bob inside Ivan's cage. He yells at Costello for letting that stray dog stay around and orders him to remove Bob immediately. Costello sets a trap to catch him, and this sparks an idea. A dangerous, brilliant idea. When Costello steps inside the cage to catch Bob, Ivan charges toward him with a roar so powerful, the man collapses in fear. Ivan locks him inside and steps out, free for the first time in decades. He rushes to Ruby's cage. "It's time," he whispers. "We're leaving." Ruby's eyes sparkle, but then she says something that stuns him. "We have to take everyone with us." Ivan hesitates, then nods. Together they break open every cage. The animals stream out into the mall, toward the exit, toward Hope. The group crosses the road and heads straight into the woods across the street. But Murphy's truck gets stuck, and a car races toward him. Ivan leaps forward and shoves Murphy to safety. Finally, the animals enter the woods, laughing, cheering, breathing freely. But their celebration is short-lived. The forest is tiny, barely a few acres. No water, no place to live. They've escaped the cage, but not captivity. Just then Mac arrives. He sees the broken cages, the trail of footprints, and the forest in front of the mall. Ivan growls at him, furious, but Mac's voice cracks as he explains, "You can't survive out here. And Ruby, she's not safe. None of you are." Ivan looks at Ruby. His heart sinks. Slowly, painfully, he leads everyone back to the mall. Ivan apologizes to Ruby. "I'm sorry I couldn't take you into the real jungle." Ruby looks up at him and softly asks, "Then what is the real jungle like?" And for the first time, he tells her the story he has locked inside his heart for years. "When I was born, my parents called me Mud because I used to draw pictures on the ground using wet mud. While the other gorillas learned to swing from trees and gather fruit, I just stayed on the ground, drawing." His voice breaks as he continues. "My dad knew I was different. He tried to teach me how to be strong, how to look fierce, but I was never good at it. Still, he loved me, and I had a little sister, Tag. I loved her more than anything." One day, while Ivan was drawing, hunters entered the forest. The gorillas fled to the trees, but Ivan couldn't climb, so his father lifted him, placed him on a tree branch, and saved his life. But his father never came back. Ruby and Bob sit speechless, their eyes full of sadness. The next morning, Julia arrives with watercolor paints. She sits beside Ivan and whispers, "I heard what happened last night. You tried to escape, didn't you? I know how it feels to be trapped, because my mom is sick, and she has to stay in one room all day." Julia shows Ivan a picture she drew, her and her mom having a picnic outside. One day, she says, "My mom will be healthy again, just just like in my drawing. Then she gently places the colors inside his cage and leaves. And suddenly, Ivan gets an idea. He picks up the colors and starts painting on the giant glass window outside his cage. A huge, breathtaking picture of a forest. A real jungle, his home. He paints all night, pouring every memory, every tear, every piece of his heart into the image, so that someone, anyone, might finally understand. The next morning, reporters arrive. Rumors were spreading that the animals tried escaping last night, but Mac tries to shut it all down. All lies. The animals never left. The show begins, and when it's Ivan's turn, the curtain rises. The crowd gasps. Right behind Ivan on the giant glass is an entire jungle, painted in stunning color. People start clapping wildly. Wow, this gorilla is a real artist. But none of them understand the truth inside the painting. Only Julia does. After the show, she tells her father, Ivan didn't just paint a picture. He painted his heart. He painted freedom. He doesn't want to live here anymore. George hesitates. This is our job, sweetheart. We take care of these animals, and we put on a show. Julia looks straight at him. You always told me we should stand up for what's right. And little by little, George's heart melts. He agrees. Julia calls the reporter, and the news spreads like wildfire. Soon, the whole town demands, free the animals. People gather outside the mall, with posters, petitions, and protests. Mac finally realizes the truth. He looks at Ivan, with sadness in his eyes. I'm sorry, big guy, he whispers. Goodbye. Finally, the day comes. All the animals are moved to the Atlanta Zoo, where they can live safe, open, natural lives. Ivan steps into a vast green habitat, filled with trees, sunlight, and gorillas. Real gorillas. His heart fills with something he hasn't felt in years. Home. Then he hears a familiar trumpet sound. Ruby. She's happy, safe, free. Ivan smiles. He kept his promise to Stella. The real Ivan was born in 1962 in Central Africa. Julia, Mac, and George come to visit Ivan at the zoo. Bob has now been adopted by Julia. Everyone smiles, watching Ivan enjoy his new life. Healthy, happy, surrounded by nature. For the first time ever, Ivan is truly free. If this story touched your heart even a little, then remember, every creature, big or small, deserves a chance to be free. Hit like, share this with someone who loves animals, and keep believing in stories that make the world just a little kinder.